And away we go. Welcome back to the pickup meeting. I'm Kevin Thomas, sitting across from the man who still somehow shows up and gets excited to record with me, even after a full year of my jokes, old and regular, picking on him in all the ways that I am. Brody Broshears, it's good to see you.
Great to see you, Kevin.
It's a just episode.
It is a just episode. I was saying to you before we went on the air, I have this academic affairs summit today, and we're recording pretty close to the time this is going to release. And I've got a ton of things to do, but the only other thing that was on my calendar today was the recording of these episodes, and it just made my day. I'm grateful for you, man.
I am grateful for you too. And for our audience listening, we've hit a year. We made it a year. Somehow we're still recording and we think that people are listening.
And we're still friends, usually.
Yeah. It's not always, real easy. You're super difficult to deal with, and you don't play well with others, but somehow we've made it to this point and we are doing a year.
Are you describing yourself or are you describing me?
Probably a little bit of both, right? It's been a year of up and down. It's been a year of a lot going on in lives. It's been a year that has been a lot of things in the higher ed world, in our personal lives, in our schools, and all the things that are happening. But you know what is the constant? This episode, or these episodes, and doing this recording and having a good time together is typically the highlight of a week of work and a week of our time together.
I know you're going to talk a little bit more about the story of this all, but I mean, it's pretty amazing that we, been calling each other, been good friends for several years now, and that we just took that concept of the conversations that we've had on the phone about work and life and have turned it into a podcast that, like, some people think is pretty fun.
Yeah. And we're going to talk a little bit about these things along the way, but let's move into kind of how we got here.
Yeah.
For folks that have been with us the entire time, thanks for listening. For new folks that are checking this out for the first time, welcome. We are really looking at this in a couple different ways today. This is a celebration of a year, right? This is a celebration of our time together, a celebration of the guests that we've had, a celebration of the things that have made us laugh and made us say, WTF, right? And we've had some of those that have come up over the year. But let's talk about us. We really started this because of that friendship. We always said, let's take these calls that we do and let's go into a different realm. Yeah. A year later, are we doing that, or did we really shift to something else?
I think it's mostly the same. We've created kind of a flow for how we do this. I think that for the most part, though, we've kept pretty true to the overall concept. And we got some practice along the way. Matt Markin, we have to talk about Matt. I know we're producing our own show today, but Matt had us on a couple of different times. You interviewed me as kind of a guest host two different times.
Yep.
In the adventure.
You must have had a lot to say.
Yeah. I went back and listened to those, a few months ago, and one of them was pretty good. The other one, I was like, oh, man, what is happening? But we kind of enjoyed doing that, and it kind of led to this examination of, could we do something that complements Adventures in Advising, but is really a different concept and a different show? And I think overall it's gone pretty well.
Yeah. The Matt part of this, I don't want to undersell. And Matt, when we say Matt's not producing the show, he's still our editor.
Yes.
In what he does and in his attempts to eliminate all the likes, rights, ands.
I mean, 100%.
Yeah. He is an invaluable member of this team. But we would not have done this without him. There's just nothing more true than that statement, because I think we were intimidated by the process, and it's still kind of scary. You're leading the fray today, and and that's nerve-wracking. And so
It is.
to have Matt with us until he transitioned into his new role in a job for the first 9 months of this has been really, 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 really wonderful. And so I would say that Matt was pretty key in this journey, in this story for us. The idea of should we do this or not, and somebody being a part of that journey, I think has been a constant within our guests too.
Yeah.
We really have talked to folks that essentially said, this person, this mentor, this faculty member, this person helped support us. And because of that, I chose a career in this path. And so similar to Matt being that person for us in this journey, I think most of our guests that we've had on would say they most certainly didn't do this alone.
Yeah, that's 100% accurate. The other thing I think is really interesting is I know you and I have both kind of talked about, like, what are we doing? Are we even good enough to do something like this? What I also think is hilarious is when we ask our guests to be on the show, they have the same response. Like, I've never been on a podcast. Why would anyone listen to me on a podcast? And invariably we do those interviews, and I'm always blown away by what people bring to the table. It's exceeded my expectations beyond belief.
For our audience, we guest one, the Tara Warden episode, still our most listened to episode. Thank you for listening. And we have recorded through Aaron Brown, which we'll release in a couple weeks here. But Brody, like, as you reflect on the moments that we've had with guests, is there a guest or a moment that taught you more than we expected in that time, or maybe on that day?
Well, I know we were going to talk about a top three, but the one episode, I hope I'm not stealing your episode, but you bring on more of the guests than I have. I don't know that that's automatically been intentional, but it's kind of just worked out that way over the year.
Yeah, people like me more than you. That's what I'm taking from that story.
I knew we were going to get there, Kevin.
Yeah, okay.
But, you know, one of the only guest I've had on from Illinois State University was a faculty member here who I knew when she was an undergraduate at the University of Northern Iowa, Dr. Emily Jones. And she talked about that cactus in the closet and the work that her mom did to keep the cactus alive during periods of time, that and the concept that you have to stress it to keep it alive. And man, that was like a punch in the face in terms of thinking about the stress that we carry and kind of how to get through the hard things. And I was like, oh, you got to stress it. Oh, I get that. And so initially that's the one thing I'm thinking about, where I thought about that story for like 2 or 3 weeks after the episode, like just nonstop. We talked about it on the phone. Like, it hit me like a ton of bricks.
Yeah, that's a great one. I didn't have that one down. In my thought of this, and some of this is because of what you said, I spend some time with the guests. I usually get the guests to say yes to doing this.
Yeah.
The thing that's maybe caught me off guard more than I expected is that this is nerve-wracking to people. You and I have fun, and we're still a little nervous here or there. Like, we don't want to say the wrong things. We don't want to do the wrong voices. We don't want to do anything that's going to embarrass us, our careers, our profession, us as people, our families. You know, we don't want to do those things, but the amount of preparation that some people need and the complete lack of preparation that other people need, and that's been a really surprising thing. The other thing that I think is pretty interesting in that is I do think that it has shaped how I do my job.
Really?
Yeah.
Of course.
There are very few guests that we have on that at some point in that episode or afterwards, I'm not writing something that they said down or looking it up because they're making me better, which was the point. We feel the guests that we're bringing on are going to make the people that are listening better. I really am appreciative of whoever it's been making me better in my job. We're recording this on August 5th. The Joe Thomas episode released today. And even in that episode, I think back to the group that he brought together, the Buff group in Colorado, to come together and essentially say, we don't have any more money, we're going to do these things, and how powerful that was. I'm looking at that and how to do that on on my campus here.
Yeah, or just the reminder that money's not always the solution to the problems that come to us as administrators. Sometimes it's reallocation or reimagination or refocusing, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, Kevin, I was thinking about this. The interviews that we've done, for example, to me, like there are two different camps, and I've gotten a lot out of both camps. When we've interviewed someone we've both known and have been great friends, it just is a big party. And even though we're learning some things, I just have found those to be so satisfying because we usually only see these people once or twice a year. And then to have had them on the show and get an hour with them to just catch up and talk higher ed, talk fun stuff has been really great. But what's been equally great has been meeting new people who are impacting the higher ed landscape. And for me, as someone who's not brought on as many guests as you have, like most of the people that I've brought on have been people that we've both known. Like Emily Jones is one example where that wasn't the case. But when we bring people on that I've just met or have just gotten connected with, man, they have given us such great nuggets. And I've enjoyed those episodes just as much.
The fun thing that happened recently is I had lunch with Dana Zahorik yesterday.
Oh, that's awesome.
And so Dana and I are having a conversation. She was flying in. She's at Lyon College today. She's a Nakata consultant. And so she's doing a workshop there. That's a nice plug for Nakata Consulting. You're welcome, Nakata.
Yes.
And so one of the things that's happened within that is that Dana, being our second guest we ever had, she's also a listener. And so Dana and I are having a conversation. We're going back and forth, and she said something, and I just really quickly stopped and I said, did we have this conversation? And she said, oh, no, that came from the podcast. The fact that the podcast is pulling into our regular conversation is a surreal thing, that something that we are creating, people are listening to, and then becomes just part of, oh yeah, we've had this conversation. The audience feels that they're in these conversations with us, and that's pretty awesome.
It is really awesome. I mean, when we first got this going, Kevin, I didn't think anybody was going to listen.
No, it was just fun for us.
That's exactly right. Like that was the purpose of starting the show. Well, there'll be a recording of us. We were friends and we talked about some silly stuff and some higher ed stuff, but when we die, people have access to our craziness.
Yeah. And that's the thing that we've talked about, that there's a legacy to this, that this is going to be out there in the sphere of knowledge and use forever and ever.
I mean, there will be tens of people that have been impacted by us.
I do feel occasionally that we are similar to Jason Bateman when he often refers to listener.
Yeah, absolutely.
So what is a fail from year one that we can laugh about now?
I did radio for a long time.
Yeah.
And you get these tics. And so for me, reliving every episode, I go, man, how many times did I say like or right? Jeez Louise.
Yeah. What was the one recently that you did? And I think I called you and said, did you say golly gee or something?
Like I think I said, I mean.
Gosh darn it. That's what it was. It was gosh darn it. And it made me laugh so much because it's so anti what our conversations would be.
Yeah. Technically, the only other thing that I think about is I'm still trying to get used to, like, we do these prep notes now and we've got access to the notes, but I really like seeing a big version of us on the monitor that I'm looking at. So sometimes my eyes don't look like I'm paying attention. Yeah. Even Kat noticed this the other day. She's like, that podcast that you did for EDU Unlocked, you did a great job, but you're not looking at the camera hardly at all. And oh boy. So I got to get that sorted out.
So you're not to laughing about it yet. That's what I hear you say. I think my laugh about, there's probably two. One is when we started this journey, we said, we're going to wing it.
Yes, I'm going to give you that one. That's right, Kevin.
I mean, that lasted one episode, and thank you, Tara, for guiding us through it. Yeah. But then the second thing is a yet to be aired episode.
Yes.
That we were in recently with Dr. Aaron Brown, and we're in the episode, we're recording, and all of a sudden it's lightning strikes on my computer or something occurs and it flashes. And when it comes back and the screen's there, you and Aaron are having a great conversation, and I am blank on the screen, can hear everything. You can hear me, but I disappeared in the conversation and I started to freak out. I'm trying to figure out how to get on, how to be able to be seen, because we've got some banter that we go back and forth with, and it just never really came to be. And so when that episode releases later this month, if you are one of the YouTube watchers in that, you're not going to see me. I'm most certainly not there for the last 40 minutes of that episode. I disappear.
It's my favorite. It's my favorite episode yet, Kevin.
Right. I didn't participate. It was great.
45 minutes was perfect.
Yeah. Yeah. But that makes me laugh now. And that day it most certainly did not.
No, it was kind of a stressful moment. Aaron handled it really well. I handled it really well. You handled it really well.
I don't even know if our audio listeners are going to realize it's happening beyond the fact that we talked about it.
Yeah, that's probably true.
If we started over tomorrow, what would we change?
I don't know. I need a better ending. I mean, it's not terrible, but
for year 2, are you going to do a different ending?
I don't. Maybe we should think about it.
Is that going to signify the seasons of the show as the ending?
Maybe. That's a good way to think about that. The ending's fine. Like you get your beginning and you cold open, and I never really know exactly what you're going to say. I mean, you've written it down, but I try not to read that part of it anymore. I just like my response to what you say is kind of more fun than anything.
Yeah.
So your open's a little bit more fun than my close. I mean, I think the message, do good, be nice, really important.
I think that when I look at this, we let the show evolve. And for folks that have been with us the entire time, hopefully you can hear that from the end of the show with a top 3, lightning round graphics, sound effects, wardrobe changes. I mean, there are things that have occurred that we've changed along the way. And so I do like the fact that we are letting the show evolve. And so I don't know that I would go back and change anything. I really like the name, and that took us a long time to get to.
It did.
I like the fact that we have a fairly strong listener group. And so there are folks listening every week. I'm still super bothered. And maybe if I'd do a change, I would have put a greater marketing effort in Idaho, Hawaii, and Vermont, where no one seems to like us.
No. It's a failure on our part for sure.
It is. We should have spent more time in the primaries, focused in that area so that we could have won the general election, but we've just failed altogether in those 3 states.
Look, I think there's a common element to at least 2 of those. You don't eat fries, like you hate potatoes, and you're also really upset about the beach. Like, why would anybody from Hawaii or Idaho ever listen to us, Kevin?
Oh, it's not Hawaii. It is. Sorry, it's Alaska. Isn't it? Sorry, Stephanie Kraft Terry, future guest. We know you listen.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
But Alaska, maybe it's because I don't eat fish.
That's probably too. From a graphic standpoint, the Todd Burrell episode where he's talking about eating a nice, delicious piece of salmon or cod or something like that, and salmon. You went to straight vomit. You were just losing it.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, disgusting.
It's been a journey. It's been a journey for sure. There's a bigger why in what we do as we move along here in this Just Us episode. What does this podcast give us that the regular meeting does not? And my quick answer is anxiety.
Look, to me, I think you and I, people would probably be surprised by this. Maybe they wouldn't be, but we really, when we talk on the phone, we really sometimes talk about hard issues that we're dealing with. And we take those conversations serious, and we are trying to help each other through some of those issues. Like we maybe aren't solving every problem, or sometimes it's just an active listening ear to kind of go through some of the frustrations that we might be dealing with, either in our role or on our respective campuses. But the thing that the show gives us is diversity of thought and diversity of perspective. I think we're getting a lot better at interviewing the guests that we have on the show. I think our questions are getting better. I think the flow is pretty good. But I continue to be just so humbled by the expertise of the people that we bring on the show and the gifts that every one of those interviews gives us and the other listeners. And
everyone.
I don't think that our phone calls, I mean, they might give us that, but they don't give our listeners that.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. And when I think about regular meetings, whether that's our phone calls or our work meetings, if we're talking those type of aspects, different rewards come from it. I would say the podcast is a different energy. There's some performance to it, and that's part of this energy, and that's nice. But I do love that we are impacting the narrative that's occurring within the field. And you don't necessarily think of those things. I got a reminder today. LinkedIn is a funny thing where you can occasionally see who's stalking you on LinkedIn. Mm. And I had one today, and I don't think he's going to care that I call him out. And it said, Kyle Ross is checking out your page. And it's like, well, what does the executive director of Nakata want with my page? And so I text him. I'm like, what are you doing, stalker? And just send him a text. He said, I'm trying to find one of your pickup meeting episodes I need to listen to. And I said, hey, that's great. It's a different energy because somebody else is going out and listening to something that's occurred, which is fantastic. That's what it's there for. And so the regular meeting, you're thinking, how do I get to the next meeting? How do I make sure that I'm doing the things that progress? This is time capsules of 30 minutes or an hour that are out there forever. And I think applicable a year later. Laws, regulations, policies, things like that will change. But the moments and the work that's being done and what folks are talking about are pretty universal in how they're going to be able to be listened to long term.
It's 100% true. And we've tried to keep these timeless. I mean, I know we've attached seasons to some of these episodes and or some sports things that are happening. I mean, Indiana University, still the reigning national champions in college football. So there's that. But for the most part,
I just like, where's, oh, there it is. Sweetness. Let's let the college football season start, so maybe we don't have to hear that ever again.
Oh, I deserved that, I guess.
Yeah.
Indiana's schedule's hot garbage, so I think they get to the middle of October without a loss. That's my hope, at least. So
you're just turning this into the sports show again.
I'm going to be insufferable. That's for sure. No, so I mean, keep going. You're good.
As we get to the end of this Just Us episode, 30 minutes flies. And this is what happens, folks. I kid you not. I think some of you probably are listening and saying, these guys talk and they do 30 minutes on the phone. They do 10 minutes on the phone. I think there was a time last week where all of a sudden I looked down. We've been on the phone like 2.5 hours.
Yeah, it did happen.
And I don't remember who said this to me when I told them that story, but they said, what did you talk about for 2.5 hours? And I said, everything.
That's a good answer.
It just is. It's everything. And so we added the Just Us episodes in January to our show. And I think that that's been great too, because it's allowed us that we do talk higher education, but we talk about life. We talk about the things that are happening. You and I were working with Carrie on something the other day, and I mentioned to him, I said, Carrie, in case you didn't know, I got divorced.
Right.
And Carrie said, I know, because she's talked about it on the podcast. And I was like, right. Oh my gosh, I forgot. I didn't even know. Yeah. But that's the things we're having phone conversations about too, and going through. And so it's a real part of us and who we are. And so those 30 minutes that we built in, I think was a fun part as well. But it's a just us.
Yeah. Oh, and the other thing I'd say about that, Kevin, is I know we prep, right? Even for the just us's, we prep, but these episodes tend to be more like our phone conversations, don't you think? I mean, I think that we are a little less scripted when we take these 30-minute episodes, for sure.
For sure.
And I think that's good.
Yeah, I do too. Well, we're to the end of the show, and as we have since about September of last year, it's time for a top 3. And this is the top 3 favorite moments from year 1 of the show. And these don't have to be specific moments, but they can be just bits that occurred, guests on certain episodes, anything you want. And the first one that I'm going to go with, and we're going to go back and forth here. Maybe we should start to do this in the future too. It allows a little balance.
It's great.
Is the Cats episode.
Oh.
And there are 2 Cats episodes that stand out to me, right? There's, first of all, you and I in our phone call, and is this cat food made of effing gold? Which is a story that I've heard people come up to me and say, I was in my car listening to that and I was crying with laughter. And so I love that the cat episode in that way has been a factor. But the initial one that came to my mind is when you forgot we were recording on a particular day. Yes. And so you're scrambling at your house in Illinois. Yes. And you get up to the room and all of a sudden you got to a point where you had to let the cats into your office or the room that you were in.
Yeah.
And our visual audience was getting this show where cats are just walking across and you can hear meowing and all the things that are occurring. And at some point I thought you were going to pick it up and do like a Lion King Simba thing. Ah, da, da, da. You know, I thought it was coming at that moment because the cats were everywhere.
Yeah, it's just a great reminder to me that those cats love me so much.
It's true. They do love you that much.
Yeah. Let's see. Top 3. Look, I mean, I'm nostalgic. Doing that first episode and getting that thing recorded with Tara was pretty awesome.
Yeah. Oh, my turn.
And she, you know, I think she was really nervous. She was really nervous.
Well, and then she had audio things, and there were just a different level of anxiety in that moment.
But I think it was good to have somebody like Tara be the first one because the nuggets she gave and the work that she's done, I mean, just so much expertise. And we asked good questions even that first episode and did enough so that if you're gonna start listening and you want to start from the very beginning, I feel like that's a great one.
My number 2 on today's list, top 3, is for sure the evolution of things. And this came from a listener. It did come from my father who's listening. And that is
Lightning Round.
The lightning round has been so enjoyable because we do talk higher education. And the lightning round, while typically it's the slowest form of lightning I've ever seen, it is a good time where we get to books and night owl versus morning and coffee and greatest fears and random things that our guests don't have to go into a great deal of detail with, but they can really just enjoy in that moment. And so the addition of the lightning round, the addition of the graphic, the addition of feedback from our listeners, thanks, Dad, on that one, it's just been great.
Yeah. I totally agree with that. I mean, the feedback from listeners and hearing folks say they've been listening and they really liked this episode or they liked that episode, there's nothing like that affirmation to know that those tens of listeners are really committed to us.
You stole my next one.
Is that
your number 2?
My number 2 is, okay. I was going to go with a more recent one.
Oh, okay.
I'm like the Christy Fireball discussion was really fun to me. And I think it's amazing to me when people really, really kind of share joy about things that have nothing to do with work. And so I just loved her story about that choral group that she's a part of. And it's a great reminder that we're humans first and, employees second, no matter what it is that we're doing. And I just think those are great reminders. And sometimes it takes a really cool story like that to get you fired up about the things that you enjoy doing outside of higher education.
Yeah. There are so many times that we've asked something that I think stick with certain episodes, but you're talking about Christy and going to the parks, trying to hit all the national parks. Katie Dawson coming on and talking about going to the ballparks.
That's right.
I think Marsha Miller, right? And her conversation with playing board games and getting so mad she flipped the board game up.
Yes.
Jenny Bloom being motivation to both you and I on 10,000 steps and staying active and that being a part of who she was. There are just so many folks that have provided those type of things that's been great.
Or that she listens to a record with her husband every night out on the porch. Oh my God.
Oh,
so good.
My number 3 here is for sure, and this is a thank you to the audience, the text messages, the feedback, the times we're at a conference or in a meeting and somebody says that they're listening. It is just a joy. And I think back to when we were in Vegas last year and we would be standing near somebody and they were having a conversation and it was about our show. Like, that is amazing. People just letting us know that they were listening, feedback. It's allowed the show to grow. I think it's allowed us to grow. And I think that's always going to be a part of what we do, whether it's just direct text messages, LinkedIn, social media, the email address, pickup meeting
@gmail.com.
There you go. Or just the in-person interactions. That's just a fantastic pleasure that I didn't think a lot about when we were initially starting this.
Yeah, I'm struggling to find a specific third episode per se, but I know we talked about Matt at the beginning, but he's awesome.
Yeah.
And I think about the year that we've got to spend with him too, all the conversations we have after we record. Like, come on. It's like another pickup meeting, but with a third participant. And I'm so grateful for his efforts with the Adventures in Advising podcast and the support, the unending support that he's kind of given us. I mean, when we record, if we record in the morning, I mean, it's really the morning for him.
Yeah.
He's done some recordings at 6:00.
Yeah.
7:00 in the morning.
Yeah. We set one up for a nighttime here in a couple weeks and he quickly responded and said, "Did you guys do this by accident?"
So
nope, we're going to do it.
So this is kind of really kind of this shout of gratitude. I'll always be grateful to Matt, no matter how long this lasts. I mean, he's helped us make this a reality. And so that's my third thing.
I love it. Well, as we close here, I'd like to reflect. A year ago, this was 2 guys with an idea and a name that made us laugh. Now it's a thing that people actually listen to. And while that catches us off guard, we want to thank you for being a part of that.
Yeah, that's awesome. So, gang, that's it for this episode of the Pickup Meeting. We hope your own meetings, formal or pickup style, are as fun and as meaningful as this one. And until the next time, gang, let's just do good and be nice.